I'm just going to talk very, very briefly about counter lines. Counter lines, just to let you know, is where there's two mobile phones, generally. Someone uses a personal phone, as they would do, as we all do. And then the counter line phone will be the one where people organize and sell drugs of that nature. So the counter line is the mobile phone. I'm not sure if anyone watches TV, watches what's it called, the detective. Right now, it shows a gang in Rochdale which have 10 counter lines, which is making multi-million pounds of money. So I teach parents and I touch base with young people, this is a root cause, and teach parents to try and avoid getting their young people into counter lines. And counter lines basically is where people go from, let's say, Manchester to Liverpool, London, wherever it may be, and they'll be selling drugs, and generally that would be young people aged 11 to 18 years of age. So these are very young, vulnerable young people. We come here, we teach, we pray, and that's what we need to do for the young people, is to make sure that they are aware of what they're doing. Generally, the young people who are targeted, school age, high school, to be more specific, they are trying to find out about themselves, as we all were. We're trying to find our road, our path. Is it to go to church, the mosque, wherever it may be? Is it to play football? Is it to play basketball? Is it to follow their studies, etc., etc.? But the young people don't know often where they're going, as we don't know sometimes where we're going when we're younger. We're trying to find our way. So that's where the organized crime groups or organized crime gangs will take and get a young person, for instance, walking to school, and they may notice that the young person or the family is subject to poverty, they've got disabilities, and there's got a lot of issues. There might be migrants or immigrants more specifically, and see that there's a chance to exploit these young people. And when they recognize that, they will give them a task to probably, here's a bag, bring that to such and such place, and take advantage of these young people. These young people don't know any better. Sometimes they do know better because their friends are involved, family members involved, etc., etc. So my role, what I try to do, is to do parental forums to make sure we educate young people. I get quite frustrated when there's not enough people from different backgrounds. There's often white British people in my parental forums, which I do in schools, at the office. So we need representation from all communities. This is why I'm reaching out today. We need representation from all communities, because as my colleague Brown was saying before, people from the black and ethnic community are represented more than anybody else, yet there's less population of us in the UK, so that doesn't make sense. So for me, that's a pitch as well to please come down, even the one time, that's come every time, but just come down once, your friends come down once, so we can try and educate parents and our community to do better. And there's a lot going on in the world today. I won't go into it too much, obviously politics, but there's a lot going on in the world today, leading to wars, etc., etc. We need to try and make sure these streets are safe. As we know, there's a lot of war, there's been a lot of stabbings recently. That's connected to counter lines, so violence, intimidation, all that type of thing is connected to counter lines. We know there's more counter lines gangs. We know on BBC they're showing it more than ever. When I look at the paper every day, I don't really want to look at it, because often the front of it is filled with violence, often connected to counter lines. And I'm going to wrap up in a sec because I want to take some questions and answers. But that's what AFRUCA does very well, is to help people like myself to educate the community, to develop a way of communicating together. We are going to argue, we are going to disagree. There is going to be issues in life, but learn how to do it in the right way. And I think me being ahead of year, 2 years back or a couple of years, made me see even more where the young people on the playground can't speak, or can't speak very well. Often I heard a lot of profanities when I was walking past them. As a teacher, I could isolate them and everything else, but I thought no, I need to have a conversation with them. Because what they're often doing is going in groups of 20, 10, sometimes even more, around the school playground, and they're not having the best of conversations. So if we can educate them with proper conversation, that will be the best thing for us to do, is to make sure we check in. It's all good that we think, oh yeah, son, no, it's not my daughter. Well, it is your daughter, it is your son. And they're not doing what they should be doing. And I can educate them, but at my last school, I was one of 3 black people out of 3 of the teachers trying to spread that message so you can see we need to be a face in the community. So I will leave it there. I will pause for questions and answers and go from there.
I just wanted to close up with saying that what we can all safeguard our children together. And like Brian said, County Line, they are targeting our children. They're targeting us because we are too busy. They're targeting us because we have financial shortcomings. They're targeting us because we can't get our children the latest gadgets. So kids go into County Line and they transport these drugs from county to county. And they use them. When your child is missing a lot, when your child is late from school a lot, when your child has too many activities that you have not put them into, when your child is too busy answering phone and has more mobile phones than you can account for, when your child's supposed to be in school and they are not, act on it, because somebody out there is targeting your child and using them for their purposes to transport drugs, transport money, whatever illegal things that they want to do. They use younger children because they're easier to target and they're harder to, the police are not looking for them. The police, they're not members of any main gang. The police will not suspect them. They're wearing school uniforms and going and doing their businesses. But that is happening under our noses because we are too busy. Take time. We respect our heritage, we respect our culture, it's part of us. But we need to take time to build relationships with our children for them to know what's going on within their lives so we can act upon it. You can always become a children's champion. That means we train you to know what we know and you can be a point of call in your community to educate others because we can't reach everyone, you can reach each other. And we have a Saturday Zoom that we do every Saturday. It's a parental forum. We talk about all subjects from neurodiversity to sexual exploitation, anything that parents could and can't face. They come on a Saturday section. They don't have to participate. You don't have to have your camera on. It's voluntary. You can hear, you can listen, you can partake. But it's a way for you to get information that you wouldn't get outside. You get it from your own people. And then you can link up with other parents that are struggling with the same issues. It can support you to seek help. And you can also go on our website, AFRUCA. But the main message is we need to do better for ourselves.
Thank you very much, Sister Rahma and Brother Brian. I know we have a lot of questions. I can see a few of our moms, putting down some notes here and there. We will entertain a couple of questions. We've got nearly about an hour to our next prayer, and I just want us to push this and finish it just before our next Maghrib prayer. But before we start taking questions, I just want to comment, Brian first. We know our black community get targeted a lot, but why are we susceptible? Why are we susceptible? We are the main target, go after the black children in terms of grooming our young children into county lines. And to my question, I want Sister, because I'm not asking question yet. I just want Sister Rahma to comment about, you said the other time that the law does not stipulate, age where you can leave your children on their own. But then, the first thing, when problem arises, the first thing they ask is, how old are you? And then they pick up on that. They will not ask about their mental health, are you mentally fit to stay on your own? Maybe for example, my 14-year-old daughter looking after the 6-year-old and the 8-year-old, Just comment briefly about it before we start taking questions from the audience.
Okay, so just on the first question, there isn't any specific evidence, so I've been doing reports, and the City Council fund, my fund, AFRUCA, the County Lines project. There's no actual evidence for it, but my hypothesis or theory for it is possibly that black people, according to what I've seen and what perpetrators have said, is that they look more intimidating. They have this image of a bad boy image, rude, streetwise, they've been identified, they've been seen this light, that they're probably greater and stronger than everybody else. So having somebody, for instance, who's strong to deliver drugs, the gang leader will know that this drug will get from A to B. So that's probably why one of the issues, but we do know in terms of my project and what my findings are, is that a lot of the black people I have, and normally from Nigerian background, they have additional needs. So additional needs is picked up on from all these gang leaders, and it's easy to coerce and corrupt a young person's mind very easily. And so that's the reason why they are represented quite a lot, and they want to show off and have this image that they sometimes live up to, and then they get themselves caught up where, let's say, the white British counterpart will still do the same, but might be more sneaky about it and be more wise to what they're doing. Whereas some people, like from what I see from my research, want to be a bit more cocky with things and show out a little bit more on social media, etc. Hence why they'd be locked up a bit more compared to, let's say, the white British. But I'll bring.
Yeah, Sister Ratma.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll bring the sister down here.
Why they ask the age of the child is, number one, why would you leave anybody under the age of 14 home alone? That's the beginning. That's the why would you? Number one, it's just the law doesn't speculate the age, but they expect parents to be reasonable enough not to leave young children alone. And even if the child is 14 years old and they're left alone looking after 2 other children, are they mature enough to control those children's behavior? Will those children listen to that 14-year-old? Will those children not do something that the 14-year-old can't control, and thereby put all of them at risk? So if you're leaving your 14-year-old, how long are you leaving them for? Is it an hour? Is it 8 hours? Do you know if they're going to go out? Are they going to open the door? Are they going to play outside? Are those other siblings going to phone someone, tell them they're home alone? Well, can she manage the risks that the other siblings will present by her looking after them? All that needs to take into account, because if anything happens, it's because that 14-year-old has not been able to manage the task that you put up on them. And then you are the one that's going to get prosecuted because you chose to do so. So, that's it.
Right, we're going to take questions. We're going to start numbering. From the male, our men, any questions? No comments? Female, our ladies, our women? No comments, no questions? All right. Question? Okay.
I first want to say thank you for coming, and thank you for shedding light on what we would presumably know. Yeah, thank you so much. Now I've missed some of the talks because I've been in, out. But what I want to ask is not because of me, but because of people who might not know. Okay. You possibly have said it when I wasn't in. It's people think, you know, when you talk of reasonable force, it is not defined anywhere. You don't know what is reasonable. You don't know what is not reasonable. What is reasonable in a particular household might not be reasonable on another household, coupled with peer pressure and other factors outside. Can you give us kind of guideline how far we can go, especially those ones that newly migrated from wherever they might be? Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, with the newly migrated, we are facing a lot of child protection issues. They come into the UK 3 months, they're child protection. 6 months, their children are removed. A year, so many of them are facing child protection issues. Many of them are in child in need, many of them, their children are in foster care. Because they've come with their ways of raising children and it's been picked up on, and they don't know some of them it's because they don't know better, they don't have newer skills, they don't know what to do. The children come and want to become like these children here. It's completely aliens to them compared to the way the children back home where they come from, and they're getting to know their workplaces, sorting out their papers. They haven't had the time to even get rooted in the society to know that you can't do this, you can't